Right now, what a second investigation into the Henry Vilas Zoo found out about discrimination or a hostile work environment.
Also, why vandals struck the UW Memorial Union and Alumni Park this morning.
And we're following developments in the Oregon duplex explosion. We hear from a family that lost everything. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. A second investigation into the Henry Vilas Zoo found no evidence of discrimination or a hostile work environment.
A retired Dane County judge did the work after a county-led internal investigation that was sparked by a State Journal report that quoted past employees' claims of racism and discrimination. Naomi Cole shares what the report did suggest. Naomi?
This second report found no evidence based on the legal standards for discrimination and hostile work environments, but it did include 10 recommendations to improve the zoo. The county board approved the independent probe back in June with a $50,000 contract, although the final cost is waiting on the judge's invoice. I talked with board chair Patrick Miles, who says the second outside investigation was crucial even after the county's internal review.
I think given the very public statements that were made about the zoo, having an outside party look at this situation was well worth gaining and maintaining the public's trust.
Miles says some of the 10 recommendations are already part of the changes in progress at the zoo, and others have been introduced as budget amendments that will address animal welfare concerns for the next budget cycle.
Naomi, thank you. After a day filled with disruptions from Darrell Brooks, Judge Jennifer Duro ruled the defense had rested its case after requesting permission to recall a witness who inspected the Ford Escape Brooks used in his attack. And being denied by Judge Duro, Brooks became angry, repeatedly interrupting the judge. At one point, the judge had to have Brooks taken to an adjacent courtroom to move forward with her statements without being cut off.
Sir, I understand you may be upset, and I really do, but I've made my determinations.
You don't understand nothing. You don't understand anything, Your Honor. You don't.
I'm going to mute him again because he's not answering the questions that I'm very clearly asking him, and I've given him 5 opportunities.
Now, Brooks went on to scream at the judge that he could not hear anything she was saying. After taking a break, Judge Duro returned, stating closing arguments will be held tomorrow. Judge Duro said the jury instructions, which are over 100 pages long, will likely take 5 or 6 hours to read.
Well, say goodbye to the unseasonably mild weather. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is on the weather patio. Hi, Gary.
Hi, it sure was nice for a few days here. Temperatures well into the 70s for 4 days in a row, but now a cold front is out to the west. You can see on visible cloud tracks, even some sunshine for a time this morning before clouds really thickened up across southern Wisconsin. But the rain is mainly to the west of us, but it is pretty widespread. Not seeing any lightning in there, so we're looking at mainly just rain and rain showers. But the leading edge of the rain now out over to about Lancaster, to just to the east of Prairie du Chien and just to the west of Richland Center. All of this, the first batch lifting to the north and northeast. But as you take a look at 6-hour future track radar, that rain's going to overspread all of southern Wisconsin. So by midnight tonight, we're looking at pretty much everybody seeing some rain. High temperatures today, well, for some reason that hasn't updated, but we were seeing temperatures in the lower 70s. Current wind gusts still in the 20 to 25 mile per hour range ahead of a cold front. You can see that wind shift just right along the Mississippi River there, where winds are shifting out from the south to the west. And temperatures right now 70 in Madison, mid 70s in Lone Rock, and mid 70s in Janesville, but across Dane County 74 in Edgerton, 72 in Stoughton, and 70 degrees in Sun Prairie. Look for skies to be mostly cloudy this evening as rain overspreads most of southern Wisconsin. Temperatures only dropping into the upper 60s by late evening. Our high temperature tomorrow will be about around midnight, and then those temperatures will fall off during the day. I'll have more on how much rain we can expect and how cool it'll get in just a few minutes.
Gary, thank you. Multiple landmarks on the UW-Madison campus, including the Memorial Union, were vandalized overnight with messages protesting a conservative commentator who's set to speak on campus tonight.
Our Tahalil Moeddin explains.
The spray paint is already being washed off, but the debate on the UW campus is just getting started.
Free speech on campus is really in danger, and it's hard to be a conservative here in Madison.
I think it's a justified response to the kind of person that is coming to this campus. It's like they watch that off in an hour. It's not a big deal.
The vandalism covering the walls and landmarks on and around the Memorial Union has students at odds as to what speech should be protected on campus. The vandalism critical of a conservative commentator whose views have been called transphobic.
Even though I disagree with the rhetoric, I'd rather have the ideas be put out there to be dismantled?
I might be a bit of an extremist in that I don't think that this can be qualified as a difference of opinion. I think it's qualified as a denial of facts.
They're also questioning what role the university should play. Some think the school has been too involved after they shared their support for the LGBTQ+ community.
It's just clearly biased.
President of UW-Madison's College Republicans, Joe Krantz, says it's clear when it comes to sharing conservative viewpoints on campus, there's an imbalance.
You know, you look back to Ben Shapiro a few years ago, and they essentially did have to shut it down and get him out of here because it was a little too dangerous and people got a little too rowdy.
Yet others say the university should be taking even more of a stance.
Saying, hey, we provide support for trans folks, isn't really commenting on what's going on here. I think that's a bit of a deflection or diversion.
Talia Modine reporting. Now, campus police say they are continuing their investigation into the people responsible for that vandalism.
Those protesting tonight's event are rallying on campus right now.
Armand Rahman outside the Union has this report. Armand?
Yeah, Eric and Susan there. The scene right now is much calmer than it was moments ago. On this side of the street here, across the street from Memorial Union, apparent counter-protesters gathered. They were holding anti-abortion signs and reading Bible scripture via loudspeaker. That's when members of the protest against Matt Walsh came across the street, and other than a few maybe shoves here and there wasn't much violence. However, police did close off both sides of the street. Madison Police Department did. And after more of the crowd surged this side, eventually those protesters holding those other signs, those counter-protesters, moved across the other side of Library Mall. And that's when the anti-Matt Walsh protesters moved back across the street here as they continue to gather outside Memorial Union. Again, their whole message is that they believe that Walsh is transphobic based on controversial comments he's made about the trans community in the past. We'll be here all night covering what happens here with this protest at Memorial Union. For now, live in Memorial Union, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Armand, thank you. Fitchburg police say they're still searching for a suspect believed to be responsible for a rollover crash and a shots fired call in a residential neighborhood just off Fish Hatchery Road. Officers first responded to the 2900 block of Coho Street around 6:40 a.m. for a report of shots fired. Roughly 10 minutes later, officers with the Madison PD responded to a rollover crash in the 2000 block of Post Road, about a block away from where gunshots had been reported. Fitchburg officers who talked to witnesses in the area ultimately determined a gun had been fired within the city limits. Police said the shooting suspect drove away from the scene before hitting a parked car and rolling over in a driveway. Damage estimates are in for that home explosion in Oregon last week.
And today we're hearing more from the families directly affected by the blast. Andrew Banstra is here with the story. Andrew?
A gas-related explosion rocked an Oregon duplex last week, and their community is rallying to help. The Oregon Fire Department tells me that damages are estimated between $1.5 and $2 million. This afternoon, I spoke with Elaine Schmitz, who was inside the home next door to the explosion. She was there with her daughter, who was homesick from school, and then she felt a rumble at 8 a.m. She immediately grabbed her daughter and left the house. For now, she's living with her sister at her home, and nearly all of her family's belongings are deemed to be a loss.
There are some things in that house that we can't replace, and we can't put a dollar amount on it, and that's really unfortunate. But my husband and I are, grateful that, with me and my daughter being in the building when it happened and in our place when it happened, that, it could have been a lot worse. So.
The Oregon Fire Department confirmed that it could have been much worse. Elaine tells me she's eternally grateful for her community, family, and friends. Not only have they set up a GoFundMe that's cracked $10,000, but neighbors are offering beds, clothes, and even money. She told me, too, that at school, friends have started bringing her daughter stuffed animals and more. As they try to move forward, their community is right there with them.
Andrew, thank you. A shooting at a high school in St. Louis this morning has left 3 people dead, including the gunman.
We're walking out the building, it's blood on the ground and stuff like that. We see students covered in blood. I see a lot of kids. It was kids crying everywhere.
Police say a woman and a teenage girl were killed, along with the shooter, who was described as a man around 20 years old, armed with a long gun. School officials say the building was locked and 7 security guards were inside the school at the time. Students say they are shaken.
Right now, I'm not going back to school. I can't do it. I'm traumatized. It's sick that people want to have the attention to kill kids.
There have been more than 35 school shootings that resulted in injuries or deaths so far this year. That is the highest number since Education Week began keeping track in 2018.
The new CNN poll shows the race for U.S. Senate in Wisconsin is a lot closer than what the Marquette poll showed 2 weeks ago. That poll conducted by SSRS shows no clear winner in the race between incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson and Democratic challenger Mandela Barnes. 50% of likely voters chose Senator Johnson, while Barnes had the support of 49% of likely voters. The Marquette poll had Johnson up by 8 points. Inflation worries continue to be the central focus for voters as they consider congressional candidates as well. 47% of Wisconsin likely voters say inflation is the most important issue in their vote.
President Biden rallied the troops at the Democratic National Committee headquarters with a little more than 2 weeks to go now until Election Day.
I'm here to deliver what I believe is a closing argument about what we need to do in the next 15 days.
The president says Democrats need to make a case to voters that Republican policies won't work. But Republicans have capitalized on a weakening economy to surge in the latest polls.
All the overspending in Washington, they have created the worst inflation since Jimmy Carter was president.
But the time to turn the tide on the economic message is running out. Millions of Americans have already cast their ballots as early voting is underway in several more states today, including Texas and Florida.
Still to come, Gary will rejoin us. A complete look at his forecast as the temps turn more fall-like.
And Americans are recycling at a high rate these days, but there's one thing they recycle very little of. We'll have the details when we come back.
And on Wall Street, strong gains to start the week. The Dow up more than 417 points. The Nasdaq adds 93. The S&P 500 jumps almost 45. We'll be right back.
Vitense Golfland offers a free Top Tracer golf range experience. Obtain valuable shot information with warm-up, track your shot history with My Practice, play virtual golf, long drive, points game, go fish. Only at Vitense Golfland.
He made $57 million from a family business whose growth was directly linked to China. His dad worked the third shift in an auto plant. Johnson pushed tax breaks benefiting himself and his millionaire donors. Barnes will cut taxes for the middle class. Johnson would let states ban nearly all abortions. Barnes will protect our rights. Ron Johnson's extreme and out for himself. Mandela Barnes works for us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
DePaco Credit Union members are better together because together members share thank yous, a DePaco-only perk that thanks members in cash. And because you're not just a member, you're also an owner, everyone benefits. How will this year's nearly $3.7 million in thank yous benefit you and your community? Since 2016, DePaco members have shared nearly $24.4 million. We truly are better together. Join the movement where your member ownership pays. Visit your nearest DePaco branch or join online at depaco.com.
Get up and go! You heard the jingle man, Wisconsin. That means it's time to get a versatile, rugged, athletic SUV that makes you feel like you just won a title. Again. Honda was just crowned KBB.com's best value brand for the 7th year in a row. So get up and go to your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin. Bring it home, Songbird.
Get up and go! Democrats defunded and dispirited our police, creating the worst crime wave in decades. Biden spent us into 40-year high inflation, drove gas prices to record levels, and opened our borders, causing a flood of illegal immigrants and deadly drugs. Mandela Barnes supports all the policies causing you and your family so much pain. He will rubber stamp their liberal agenda. Mandela Barnes sides with radical leftists, not with you.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Vitense Golfland offers an outdoor golf range practice and entertainment experience for all ages. Golf suites with 36 covered and heated tee areas are equipped with free Top Tracer. Grill and bar items are served directly to your golf suite. Enjoy sweet fun at Vitense Golfland.
Tonight at 6, the quiet village of Oregon has become a hot spot for violent activity recently.
Armed robbery, a house explosion, now an officer-involved shooting. News 3 Now recounts the incidents and brings you the latest on all of these events tonight at 6.
A new house with superpowers.
It looks normal. It just uses less energy, and we'll save money down the road.
Susan Simon shows you a first-of-its-kind home construction in our area. Find out what makes it special for the homeowners and our environment. Tonight at 10. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back. Britain has a new prime minister after Liz Truss resigned last week.
Rishi Sunak makes history as the youngest UK prime minister and the first prime minister of color. The 42-year-old father of two has a background in finance and served as finance minister under Boris Johnson. Sunak was previously passed over for the position in favor of Liz Truss, who resigned after a tumultuous 44 days that saw the economy tank along with the British pound.
I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together.
For now, it's up to Sunak to see if he can save the UK from economic turmoil.
Despite a nationwide effort to fight opioid abuse, overdose deaths continue to rise, with over 100,000 ODs annually. Last year, the number of Americans dying from overdoses was up 15% compared to the year prior, with 2/3 of those deaths linked to fentanyl and other synthetic opioids. To approach the ongoing crisis, more communities are trying alternative approaches to prevent overdoses, like handing out Narcan to high schoolers.
Offering that is definitely a plus. It's a very simple tool, I think, to assist on the streets, on the ground level.
Here in Madison, the UW has partnered with Voices for Recovery, a peer-led movement uniting people seeking recovery, their families, professionals, and allies to provide free access to Narcan in student housing. With fentanyl lacing becoming increasingly popular in drugs other than opioids, Narcan can be used if someone is experiencing fentanyl-like overdose symptoms from taking other drugs. A Greenpeace study found that Americans recycle paper, cardboard, and metals at high rates, but not elastic.
Only about 5% of household plastic waste is being recycled, even as production increases. Elise Preston has more on how people are trying to change that.
Households across the country haul plastic recycling to the curb every week, but a new Greenpeace report finds it's really a dead-end street. According to the report, U.S. households generated about 51 million tons of plastic waste last year. Just 2.4 million tons were recycled. That's only about 5%.
Plastics are just really difficult to recycle, and that's why these numbers are so low.
The difficulties range from basic economics to contamination. The plastics industry is advocating chemical recycling to reuse material.
We bring in used plastic, we heat it up, we vaporize it, and we have a phase change separation from all the fillers and dyes and inks that are in that plastic.
Greenpeace argues the technology is unproven and it doesn't solve the whole issue.
By focusing on chemical recycling, we're ignoring the rest of the problems that plastics create.
One way for consumers to be involved in a solution is to stop buying single-use plastic and use refillable containers instead.
Sounds good.
Rachel Garcia owns Dry Goods Refillery in Montclair, New Jersey, a plastic-free grocery store where customers bring their own reusable containers.
The idea of bringing your own container isn't something new and novel. I want it to feel like in 5 years, this is so normal that it's like your coffee shop or like your pizzeria, that there can be one in every town.
More stores like this one have popped up in recent years, but the practice is far from common. Greenpeace says it's up to consumers and legislation to ultimately turn the tide on plastic. Elise Preston, CBS News, Montclair, New Jersey.
Common household items like yogurt containers, drink cups, and some films are among the least recyclable kinds of plastics.
Plastics, not elastics.
Yeah,
I think I said elastic.
One letter makes a big difference.
Sorry about that. Gary's here now with a check on our forecast. Some big changes on the way, but we can't complain, Gary. The weekend was just beautiful.
You mean it's going to get colder, Gary?
Well, we've recycled our temperatures for about 4 days in a row, but that will come to an end tonight as a cold front comes through. Three things you need to know in the forecast. Showers are going to become likely this evening and continue through tomorrow and then end tomorrow evening. It'll be cool as temperatures get back to normal. So, you know, it will definitely feel cooler, but again, this is about where we should be. We've just been spoiled by the last 4 days. And then dry weather returns Wednesday and lasts through the weekend. As we check out on let's go to the rainfall accumulation. This is over the last 24 hours. There was a narrow band of about a ½ inch to an inch of rain and some heavier thunderstorms that moved from northern portions of Iowa County to far northwestern Dane County and up into Marquette and Green Lake counties. but most of the area south and east of Madison had less than 1/4 of an inch of rain. These darker areas had between about 1/4 and a 1/2 inch of rain. And then you can see some heavier showers and thunderstorms out to the west over portions of Iowa. Meantime, as we take a look at the radar, there we go, high-resolution Doppler radar, you can see showers now overspreading much of Crawford and western Grant counties. The showers just about to Lancaster, just northwest of Platteville, heading up toward Richland Center and eventually toward Dodgeville and Darlington. But those will overspread all of southern Wisconsin. You can see that widespread area of rain extending back into Iowa. I'm not seeing any lightning there, so we're not looking at any thunderstorms and anything, but there could be a couple of heavier downpours just on the front edge of the shower area. As you take a look at future track precipitation estimates over the next 24 to 48 hours, we're looking at somewhere between about a 1/2 inch and an inch of rain through southern Wisconsin. The heavier amounts probably over southeastern Wisconsin, closer to Milwaukee and Lake Geneva. But right now, those showers are spreading northward as the jet stream winds are out of the south. So that's pulling up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. But notice how the jet stream starts coming back in from the north and west. That rain actually changing to snow over parts of the Dakotas as it's cold enough there. But around here, you can see where the cold front is. Madison at 70, La Crosse at 56, temperatures in the 40s out to the west. And there's that wind shift line. So as that comes through about midnight, that will put an end to the mild weather. Look for showers overnight. It'll be cooler, low temperature dropping to 54. But tomorrow, those temperatures don't go up very much. 55 for the high early, and then temperatures steady or falling through the day, and the showers will continue. Planning your day for tomorrow? Well, for tonight, look for the showers to overspread much of southern Wisconsin by 9 p.m. By midnight, just about everybody's seeing the rain. The first batch kind of moves through. By 3 a.m., Madison dries out for a little bit, but then the next batch favors more areas east of Dane County, at least initially. Janesville seeing some rain early tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock, just about everybody east of Madison seeing some rain. Farther out to the west, those areas may stay dry or just see a few scattered light showers, but notice the temperatures. We're down to 50 by noon, and temperatures mainly in the 40s out to the west of Dane County, and then the showers continuing into tomorrow afternoon before winding down tomorrow night. Again, those rainfall amounts probably somewhere between about a 1/2 inch and an inch of rain, heaviest amounts over southeastern Wisconsin, but a pretty good soaking for just about everybody. 7 to 10 day forecast, those temperatures more seasonal, mainly in the mid to upper 50s, but dry weather from Wednesday through Sunday. Just a slight chance for a shower on Halloween Monday, and then better chances for showers for the middle of next week. Temperatures may turn colder toward the end of next week. As we check out first warn traffic right now, not seeing too many problems. Beltline looking pretty good. I-39, 90, and 94 on the east side of Madison. Stoughton Road, all in pretty good shape travel time. About a 14 to 15 minute trip either way on the Beltline between University Avenue and the interstate. Heading out of Madison, 25 minutes from the Beltline to Janesville on I-39, 90. 16 minutes from Middleton to Sauk City on US 12. Downtown to Sun Prairie, East Washington Avenue and US 151 takes you 18 minutes. That's your news for now. First warn traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary. Next at 5, the Packers are 3-4 with a very tough test next weekend at Buffalo. We'll hear from Coach Matt LaFleur as he tries to get things fixed. Coming up.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
It was Halloween. My daughter stopped at 3 homes, her girlfriend's house, her teacher's house, and the man that murdered her. He molested her. He put her in a garbage bag. He was going to be released in 2018. Josh called. He was not there for me at all. You want some help to find out what's going on, and he doesn't help. He don't care about the victims. I know Eric Toney does. Eric Toney helped keep that man that murdered my daughter from being released. Eric Toney's always been there for me, and that's the kind of attorney general we need.
It's a great time for your next appliance upgrade with 11% off everything going on now at Menards. Transform your home with top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Upgrade your home with quality, energy-efficient appliances from Menards. We offer the lowest prices with the largest in-stock appliance selection ready to take home today. Get 11% off your entire appliance upgrade now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
I'll never forget January 6th, watching my fellow law enforcement officers defending the Capitol, defending our freedoms, defending democracy, and then 5 officers died. But Ron Johnson is making excuses for rioters who tried to overthrow our government, even calling them peaceful protests. Johnson defended Donald Trump's lies and even supported efforts to make it harder for some people to vote at all. Senator Johnson's just not for us.
And Citizens United is responsible for the content of this ad.
If you overdraw your account, Wells Fargo gives you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with a grace period? Like accidentally parking where you shouldn't.
Hey, what about this one? Nah, that one gets an extra day. Somebody got lucky.
Like having an extra day grace period? When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
These guys will buy our house without even seeing it.
Online buyers make offers that seem attractive at first, only to lower or cancel at the last minute. We Buy Ugly Houses won't reduce or cancel our firm cash offers before closing. Call or click to sell quick.
Well, it's not a position that anyone thought the Packers would be in this season.
But for the first time since 2018, Green Bay has now lost 3 straight games, the latest being, of course, the Washington Commanders yesterday. Between injuries, the penalties, the miscommunication, the Packers just really couldn't get into any sort of offensive rhythm Sunday afternoon. They only managed 47 plays. They didn't convert a single third down, only rushed for 38 yards, and it leaves Coach Matt LaFleur grasping for anything to get out of the rut.
We got to do a better job playing complementary football because it's not at the standard that is sustainable for winning. I mean, there's moments here and there and in every phase, and but the consistency at which we go out there and play and coach, and it just hasn't been there.
Well, the Packers are now on the road this weekend with another very big test ahead of them, a primetime matchup. One of the best teams in all of football, the Buffalo Bills, on the road Sunday night.
A final check of your First Warn forecast in just a minute.
Vitense Golfland offers an outdoor golf range practice and entertainment experience for all ages. Golf suites with 36 covered and heated tee areas are equipped with free top tracer. Grill and bar items are served directly to your golf suite. Enjoy sweet fun at Vitense Golfland.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
The house before you, over 30 years old, still has its original window. Boom.
There's no need to be afraid of old windows. Call Feldco for 50% off.
It's the biggest sale of the season. 50% off Feldco windows, plus no money down and no interest until 2024.
50% off ends Halloween. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
The Internet of Things is evolving, creating the Internet of You. And Spectrum, America's leading internet and mobile provider, is bringing you seamless connectivity across all your devices. Introducing Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits, advanced Wi-Fi, and Spectrum Mobile Unlimited, all for just $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999. Spectrum Internet delivers speeds up to a gig with over 99.9% network reliability. Advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security and privacy that automatically blocks threats to protect all of your devices. And Spectrum Mobile gives you unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide 5G and the most reliable service coast to coast. Switch now. Call 833-673-4999. At Spectrum, it's not just about connecting things. It's about connecting you. Get it all with Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999 or visit a Spectrum store today.
When I heard from my doctor, it was my worst nightmare. My baby's diagnosis was dismal, a severe abnormality, and my husband and I decided to have an abortion so our daughter wouldn't suffer. Tim Michaels thinks that decision should have been his, not ours. He wants to criminalize abortion. And if he's elected, women will lose the freedom to decide what's best for them. Tim Michaels is just way too radical for Wisconsin.
Vitense Golfland offers 2 golf and multi-sport simulator suites. Play great golf courses with unmatched viewing clarity. Play different sports such as football and soccer. Have fun with Zombie Ball. Vitense Golfland provides simulator fun for everyone.
Final check from Gary.
And take a look at the Platteville-Quimby radio sky cam. Looks a little dark out there to the west. Rain is moving into Grant County and will overspread most of southern Wisconsin in the next few hours.
CBS Evening News is next, and we're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.